And welcome to Leaders by Design podcast. It's Pushpa here, your host, with a really special guest. And why a really special guest? Because it's an area of her expertise where I know this year on coming into the new year is a place for growth for me. And I'm actually going to be engaging her as my coach, as my mentor, and truly why? Because when I'm adding value to all my listeners and all my audiences, it's because it would have been tried and tested by me first. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend it. And when I first spoke to Maria, I thought, that there was some sort of connection there. And I thought she's come into my life for a reason. It was a very short, sharp conversation. But in my heart, I knew it was a right step for me and a strategy that I needed to enable me to grow in my business, but more so as a person and as a human being that does a lot of talking. And yes, I do a lot of talking, but that's enough about me. Thank you for joining me, for your great value add content. I know I can't do justice by introducing Maria or even reading her bio, so I'm going to get her to introduce herself and start sharing absolutely phenomenal content that's going to truly make a difference in your lives. Maria, welcome so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. So I'm very excited, and sounds like you've got a really lovely group of people that are being inspired by you, Pushpa, and we can never stop learning. So a little bit about myself is I never stop learning, and I'm constantly exploring the organ of the soul, which is the voice.
Wow.
And the voice is internal and external. I believe it starts internally. So my bio as such is ever exploring itself, and it's expanding, and its depth is getting deeper for me. So what I am essentially at this stage of my development and my communication level, because development is your communication level, I am a coach who specializes in helping you have a confident speaking voice, but not only confident, but engaging. So we can be confident, but not engaging or influential, right? So most of us want to just be engaging, but not influential. Or we may want to be influential, but we're not engaging. So what I help people do is bring that together by physically working on your voice, because sometimes there are tones and body language patterns, which includes the voice tone, because that's part of the body, that doesn't help you, or personality that shows up in the voice or the body that doesn't help you, makes you feel, it looks a bit standoffish. So I blend voice technique, which / body language, includes the body, and human behavior together. And I look at how they work together or not work together. And so in that, there's quite a bit of deep work. And sometimes it is about personality. Sometimes it is about knowledge and experience. And so my work is to mentor people through that. So it involves coaching, but it also involves mentoring, a bit of both, depending. By nature, though, I'm more of a teacher. I love to share what I learn, but I kind of learn lots of things and then utilize it like a smorgasbord of deciding what needs to come in where. Okay, so I'm pretty excited. So it's body, it can be spiritual depth, it can be mindset, and it can be just shadow work, shadow parts that we don't know about ourselves.
Thank you. I got goosebumps when you started talking. I don't know if it was because of your tonality, but it was like shivers going. I don't know if you saw me shake, but that was compared to when I last spoke to you and the way you just spoke to me today. Really, I was mesmerized, and I actually lost my train of thought because I was so engrossed in what you were saying. And
Mm.
it's beautiful to hear what you're doing because you're not just looking at the voice, you're actually relating it to human elements in a really
Mm.
special way. So if I was going to ask you one question,
Mm-hmm.
how or why did you go into this field of expertise?
Well, I have always grown up in perhaps deep spiritual places, and I wanted to be a minister. I thought I wanted to help people. I wanted to help people connect with their authenticity, connect with their calling and their purpose and their mission, right? And I've always loved teaching. And at the time, I didn't pass my HSC, and I just trusted the process, got into leadership training, a lot of corporate leadership and management, then moved out of that. I did that for 20 years, moved out of that and got into personal business. An opportunity came up to start a singing school. And I was always a singer, by the way. I always loved singing as a child and leading. So I was using my voice as a leader, youth leader, Sunday school leader, just leading. All I could see in those days was like, I want to be a preacher, because it was about speaking and it was about encouraging people, right? So my environment was very kind of out there with people all the time. So I became a singer, and I was known as a singer. And so I took lots of lessons, and somebody said, look, let's start a school. Would you like to head that up? And I started that many, many years ago. And as soon as I put my ad in the paper, I just had all these people coming. And it was really bizarre because there was another girl who did the same, but it wasn't happening. So I do believe in that sense of it was meant to be. There is an element of following your path, your gut feeling about things, being loyal to that. That's what I found. I find that's the inner voice leading us. That's what I was really listening to. Even when there was a lot of doubt, I just kept going, okay, there's something here, there's something here. And I kept feeding into it because I thought, what else can I be loyal to? I need to be loyal to that thing inside of me that's driving. Even now, there are things I'm studying now that I don't actually have the whole picture about, but I'm fascinating. So I'm loyal to that. And I keep, even if I don't fully understand it, I'm going into some really deep, interesting things that I believe are in the depth of the soul where the voice is. And I'm just feeding into that. So I constantly feed into, because it opens up maybe 5-6 years later, and that's what happened to me. So this singing school came out of nowhere. And I was very busy. 80 people coming in and out of my house because I was working from home. I had a studio dedicated, my whole of upstairs. 80 people coming in and out of my house from all ages. So my communication skill had to be, because to make the business prosperous and healthy, I had to learn to communicate to all ages, from 4-year-olds to 90-year-olds or 80-year-olds, really older people. Yeah. And so I had that physical people coming in and out of my home. And I've been doing that for 22 years and I still don't want to let that go. So that's my singing school. I don't have that many people, of course. It's been reduced a lot, especially online now. Most people are like, oh, I don't know if I can do singing online, but it can happen.
Yes.
So I've still got my hand in that because I believe that's the essence of my first initial steps. And then from that, I became very interested in human behavior, even for myself, to break out of some religious patterns I was involved in. Right. I was involved in some really strong laws and rules, which were great for a while, but I knew they weren't going to help me forever. Right. And I needed to break out of that, a blend of religious and cultural values that were holding me back. And so I had to review that, and I ended up on a path that created that. It's a long story there too. A few health issues along the way that helped me look beyond the body. I had to look beyond the body. And I think, Pushpa, you're been in that situation before. And, when you have to look beyond the physical body and into the inner voice that's always there. And so, I did singing, and then I got into human behavior, and I started coaching people and started doing work on coaching and neuro-linguistic programming, changing the way you think, and continuing the spirituality. I think that was very important to me. I didn't want to lose, for me, I call it the inner the inner God voice or the inner beingness voice, universal voice inside of me that's constant and always there.
Absolutely understand that. So, wow, what a phenomenal journey. If there was something that you could, so I've asked you the how and the why. If there was a tip that you could give audiences, and not just people that are wanting to speak or not, like myself, it's exactly a year since I became a minister of the Universal Church. So it's funny you say about the ministry, because that's a lot of the last 2 years, that's where I've been focused, and I'm just stepping out now to focus on the organizations that need my attention. Still doing the ministry, but more so on business side of things. And the why and the how. And what I was saying is that it's not necessarily that you work on your voice just to become a speaker. Now, what are your thoughts on that for normal day-to-day life?
No. So too many of us are actually focused on the function instead of on the meaning and the calling.
Yeah.
So, yes, there are obstacles that get in the way, functional things that if you don't speak clearly, we're not going to understand you. If you have a strong accent, we're not going to understand you. If you're boring and unexpressive and you don't use enough voice tonality, it makes it harder for people to hear. But there is something that does supersede that. And I really believe that calling, the witness that leads our lives, is very powerful and does transcend some of those barriers. However, it's not your opportunity to lay back and think it's not important, because we were in environments like that. I grew up in environments. It doesn't matter. The flesh doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the flesh looks like, as long as the spirit is strong, And I think it's a balance of both. And we need to be visible. We need to be relevant and caring enough to reach you and be interested about you, and not so much about me and my message, but about what you're wanting to hear as an audience, a listener, and how do I tailor what I do and get out of my tightness of rules and regulation and systems that keep me safe, abandon those sometimes to reach you. So then I'm confident enough and secure enough to be able to find, or at least give you what you, well, at least come out to you with what you want, and then through that, as you develop that trust, give you what you need. Do you see what I mean? So, and helping people with their known problems and helping people with their unspoken problems, and eventually getting to their unknown problems. Do you see?
That's really interesting and great value add. There was like over the last couple of years, since life changes have happened to me, and two nearly death experiences, within 12 months of each other. I was very much looking for that coach that would help me with my speaking, because over 10, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I did do a lot of speaking and engaging in the community and that, and very confident and courageous. Then I had a bout of 8, 9 years where my confidence really crushed, out of a situation that I wasn't in control of. So for the last 2 years, in my mind, I've been thinking, okay, I need support here. And being a coach and a mentor myself, I realized how important it is, especially if you're looking to achieve something and impact other people. So I've come across quite a few, and I'll be honest with you, I've come across a lot of voice coaching, a lot of people that teach you speaking, about people that are talking, training you to be on stage, and it just wasn't clicking. And I think now hearing you speak over the last few moments is why I chose you, is that because you really are coming from a different realm. It's not just your physical, and it's just not about you. It really is your calling and why you're truly here. And I believe that the universe really attracts us to the people that will make that happen, especially if you're 2% of the population that is living your true calling. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for confirming my choice. if there was one thing that you could leave the audience with, what would that be around the speaking? And obviously, I'd love for you to share your contact details. And if people wanted to find out a little bit more about you or have a conversation with yourself as an initial chat, how would they do that?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Pushpa. And again, I'm glad that I can be that little part in the gap for you as best as possible. I think the one thing I want to leave people is that there will be things that put you off, that will keep your mouth shut, that depresses you, that holds you back. But your calling, your mission, your voice, your creative force, because the word is the creative force, is going to be there irregardless of that. And you need to tune into that. That is not judging you. You're not being judged. You're judging yourself. You're holding yourself back because that purpose, that creative voice is there in the wind and the storms and the downs and the ups and the good and the bad and all those polarities that we use. I'm up, I'm down, is really not what the voice is about. The voice is about doing it irrespective of that. And it's okay to say, today, I'm being challenged on this myself. This aspect, I can talk about it, but I'm still integrating this part in my life. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to say, I don't have it all together. People aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for inspiration. And what better way to inspire people to actually say, I can talk about this. This excites me. I love this content, but I'm integrating it, because some of these things that we talk about take time to integrate.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so there's the humanity and there's the witness of that, the witness of our humanity that says you can keep going. This is where I want you to go. I want you to say this. I want you to stand up. I know you feel like you want to sit down, but stand up, speak out. This is what you could be doing. That thing that tugs us all the time to moving forward and being creative. And that's what I'd like to leave with everybody, that don't let those moods and the clouds spoil or take away the blue sky, because it will never go anyway. The blue sky will always be there. The day will come, even if there's a storm. All night it rained tonight. All night it rained, but the day still came and the stillness came.
Yes.
Right? The days will unfold. They're not going to stop. They're going to keep unfolding. It doesn't matter. And you got to keep going. Don't give up.
Amazing. Thank you.
And how to get in touch? Okay, you could just go to my website, mariapalicano.com. It is a .com. And you could book in a strategy session where we could just have a chat. But I would like to get an email. I usually reply back to these people that book in and say, could you tell me a little bit more about yourself? Have you looked at some of the resources I already have? There's lots of links that I've given you to Pushpa, because I just want to make sure that the people that are reaching out to me are wanting to really take action, okay? And of course, don't take action until you're inspired. I agree with that. But are you really wanting to take action, or is this just, something else? So I just have to qualify that because of limited amount of time.
Absolutely. Yes.
Love to hear from people. Anybody who's really serious in making sure their lives are heard, that they heard, and that they can contribute to this world and make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you on that as well, because it's about wanting to make that difference. And I'm sure many people that will reach out for the phone in their heart will know that it's a step that they need to take. So,
and one more thing, Pushpa, Ken Wilber talks about waking up, growing up, cleaning up, and showing up. The voice is about showing up. And we do that in different levels, but we do need a wake-up call. I think we have to wake. And if you feel that you're wanting to wake up, or you have woken up, and you're now looking for growing up and cleaning up, I'd be really happy to be part of that.
Love it. Excellent. Thank you. So when I do the thumbnail, I'll be putting some contact details there for yourself. Sure. And I just want to thank you my dear. Thank you for everything. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
me.
Thank you for being who you are. So then you
you.
can create this platform for everybody. That's your voice. Beautiful. Well done.
Thank you very much. And for choosing to take me on board. Because I know how busy you are.
Well, we're all here for each other. We really are.
Yeah. So listeners, that's it for today's content. Thank you for joining us at Leaders by Design with your host Pushpa and Maria. And we are, did I say that right, Maria?
Maria.
Yeah. Maria. Why am I saying Maria? It's because I had a friend called like that way. Anyway, sorry.
Okay.
So wishing you all a great festive season if you hear this podcast before. And if after, then we're wishing you a beautiful, wonderful, abundant 2021. Thank you for joining me. It's goodbye from Pushpa and it's goodbye from
Maria Pelicano.
All right. See you all soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.